Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 2 of Dark X-Men, written by Steve Fox. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So in the wake of Orcus's relentless anti-mutant campaign, Madelyne Pryor has assembled her own team to seek out and protect mutant refugees, with their most recent recruits being Gimmick, Gambit, and Maggot, who Madelyne saved from Orcus's capture. But unfortunately, even though Madelyne and her team succeeded in getting them out, the battle ended with Archangel and Havoc losing their lives. And while Madelyne was able to revive Havoc using her dark magic, Archangel's body ended up falling into the hands of Orcus. So with that said, issue number 2 opens with a dialogue stating how there are a few worlds throughout the multiverse in which Madelyne Pryor lived a simple life. But there are also several realms in which she ascends to power. Now one such Madelyne was feared by many for corrupting many different types of magic to the point where she was drawn into a conflict that spanned all universes. But ultimately she barely survived, as Madelyne Pryor often does. So with that defeat, she was sent into exile on a different Earth where she ended up fighting the X-Men and lost. And as her final banishment after that battle, she was cast down into the deep depths of limbo. So when Orcus's research unit discovered her in the forgotten corners of this timeless realm, there was nothing left that resembled the young woman who once bore the name Madelyne Pryor, and all that remained was the creature known as the Goblin Queen. So with that said, we skip ahead to the current day in an undisclosed Orcus Black site, where we pick up with Angel's body being given to the Goblin Queen following the events of issue number 1. And apparently, this was all according to Orcus and the Goblin Queen's plan, for they asked if she had all that was required to put the asset into the field. In which she replies by saying yes, her fallen angel will fly again soon. So with the Goblin Queen and Orcus up to no good, we jump over to the Limbo Embassy earlier that day, with Alex bleeding out on the table as Madelyne Pryor tried to do whatever she could to keep him alive. Because following the events of the Hellfire Gala, they no longer have the 5 to resurrect them in case of emergencies. So in order to keep Alex alive, she has to use her telekinesis ability to keep his blood from flowing outside of his neck. So with the race against the clock on, Gambit walks into the room and asks if he could be of any service to help in this situation. In which an annoyed Madelyne slams the door directly in Gambit's face, because with stakes like this on the line she couldn't afford any distractions. So with Madelyne's decision widely known, we get to see a confrontation break out between Maggot and Azazel. Now the reason why they are fighting is because Maggot feels some type of way about Angel's body being left behind for Orcus to take. But see, Gambit unfortunately had to step in between the two and agree with Azazel about the likelihood of Warren's body remaining there. Because at the end of the day, all of them were fully aware of the consequences if they were to fail. So with the odds slim to none and everyone disagreeing with him, Maggot was forced to stand down in frustration. So with nothing else to be said, Maggot eventually stormed out of the room and stated, "With friends like those, who needs Orcus?" So with the confrontation avoided between the two, Azazel tells Gambit that he never thought they would be such close friends, in which Gambit had to burst his bubble by telling him how much he didn't trust him, just like he doesn't trust Madelyne. But due to the state of the world, they have to all work together to survive. Which was something Azazel could agree with wholeheartedly, because his sole motivation was just based on survival. So with that said, it is obvious how dysfunctional this team is. In fact, this is less of a team and more of a group of convenience. So with most members out for themselves, we see Alex and Madelyne walking into the hallway. And let me just say, Alex looks like a complete zombie with that scar on his neck. But anyway, Alex introduces himself to their newest recruit and asks Carmen if she has a mutant name that she prefers to go by. In which she states that her current mutant name was Gimmick, but she was thinking about changing it. So with that out there, Madelyne interrupts their conversation and says how Carmen subconsciously is shouting how she wants to be called Faint, and funny enough Madelyne approves. So with Carmen's name changed to Faint, we skip over to a data page that gives an in-depth look at the 2 Orcus agents in this issue. The first of the 2 was Agent Kroll. Now when it comes to Agent Kroll, we find out that he received a dishonorable discharge from S.H.I.E.L.D.'s experimental robotic division. And records also indicate a court-martial was considered to determine whether his studies into the pain threshold of AI were considered human rights abuse, but the trial was postponed due to something that was redacted. And that wasn't the full extent of his crimes, for he was also involved with Norman Osborn as well as Hammer before finally ending up here, in Orcus. And as for Valen, she first appeared in their records as part of the support staff for Le Bureau Discret, which is a France intelligence agency. Now her specialty was in arcane research, which means she was rarely deployed to the field until one day she was asked to help out in a newly uncovered ruin. And once there, a demon attacked her team and killed everyone, except for her. So following that, an unsubstantiated rumor spread about how Valen bargained with one of the devils present to exchange her colleagues' lives for her own. So with that heavy info dump out of the way, we see Agents Valen and Kroll as independent contractors within the vast and convoluted hierarchy of Orcus. Even though no one would admit to it, Orcus's top brass isn't quite sure who first hired Kroll and Valen, but they had to admit the duo had a knack for acquiring and deploying unique assets, which in the end justified their high costs. Now under their direct supervision, Orcus lost 63 units during the capture and containment of the variant Goblin Queen and her Bamf Dragon. So despite the possibility inherent, Orcus was uncomfortable holding the demon sorceress who also possessed Omega-level mutant abilities. Now the Goblin Queen became one of the earliest test subjects for the new method of deactivating the X gene, which involved Brightswell, which is an elixir found in Otherworld. So with that said, the Goblin Queen cackled as they injected her, for she claimed to have long ago outgrown her mutant powers. Which is a huge deal, so much so that Agent Valen knew this was no idle boast, for she could taste the inferno power surging off her newest acquisition. And as for Kroll and Valen's personal files, as we have seen, they are heavily redacted even by the secretive standards of the agencies that feed into Orcus. However, it is known that Valen specializes in the arcane while Kroll's area of expertise is cybernetics. And speaking of that, we see the body of LCD disassembled on the table, but still fully operational. Now, for those who don't know who LCD is, she was the friend of Albert, the Wolverine robot sent to attack the Dark X-Men in the previous issue. And because of their closeness, Elsie tells Kroll that when Albert finds out about this he will rip him apart piece by piece. But see, Kroll didn't care about her words, for Kroll could access the black box within Albert. And because of that, he was able to see and hear everything Albert was seeing and hearing clear as day. Now on a side note, Zero was able to fuse himself with Albert, which was completely random. But anyway, during the team argument, Maggot gets fed up and once again storms out of the room for the lack of treatment for Warren's body. So with everything going chaotic, the remaining members of Madelyne's Dark X-Men made their way to her Mercy Crown in order to search for more mutants in need. Now during their interactions, we find out that while Xavier's invention is psychic in nature, while her Mercy Crown mainly traffics in souls. And through that connection, Madelyne can feel all the mutants that need their help. And on this page, we get to see mutants like Bishop, Iceman, Emma, Mystique, and etc. all doing their solo stories. Which implies that at any time, Madelyne can reach out and contact any of these cells whenever she wants. So with that said, they decided a great place to start was Mexico. So with Azazel bamfing the team in, they decided to be dropped off close enough not to spook the female mutant they were after. So with the team in position, Maddie tells Gambit, Maggot, and Plate, and Azazel that they will not be attending this mission with them because she decided that it would take too long to save each mutant one at a time. So despite Gambit's and Maggot's protest, they had to concede that Maddie made a good point. So with that established, Madelyne then goes on to state that Feint should stay with her on their mission, due to the fact that their target is similar in age to her. And because of that age similarity, it would make it easier for the newcomer to feel accepted. So following Gambit and his team leaving, we see Feint use her metamorphic power to create her new outfit, which was a new design Feint was messing around with long ago. So with that out there, we see Maddie and her team setting off on their mission to save their target. So while that is going on, we transition over to the South Asian Sea, just outside of Madrypor, with the leader of the Marlocks, Callisto, sitting on top of the vessel. Now the only reason they survived the Hellfire Gala was because, on that night, Callisto and her people were simply too far at sea to reach a gate in time when Charles tried to compel them with his psychic command. So with a huge block of mutants displaced, like I said earlier, Callisto is once again forced to be the protector of her people, but see, despite her title even she could not stop Death himself. So with adrenaline pumping through her body, she tells her people to get down as a mysterious figure comes crashing through their ship. And like a blade, everyone who remained standing was cut clean in half. So with bodies scattered across the vessel, Maggot, Gambit, and the rest of their team bamf onto the scene only to see the corrupted Angel floating before them. So with that said, issue number 2 of the Dark X-Men comes to an end. So down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.